Yeah. So we're talking about 4 plays that are left over. They're Visible Dimensions, People Without Souvenir, Janelle's Red Yaya, and It Turns Out to Be Here. I read them out of order with the rest of the sequence, but now I'm all caught up. So we'll speak of Their Visible Dimensions first. It's a interesting play in the sense that the title sort of misleads you into thinking that maybe it'd be on a more scientific topic, but it's more about this loser Duke Aaron Mitchell. So I want you to speak about first the central character there. And the one thing I noticed throughout these 4 plays, and really throughout the entirety of your dramatic corpus, is that Duke has a few monologues here, but it seems like every central character generally has a monologue. And I can't think of the last time where Danny was the central character. He may be the second most important character, the third most important character. But outside of the early plays, I'm not sure if you could make an argument that he is the main head of the play.
Well, it's sort of like, this play involves Danny Wagner has his own Biorama series, and he's getting the Duke Mitchell character to talk about it. So it's in a way like my interviews is. My Dan Schneider video interview series is Dan Schneider's show, but in any individual episode, I'm subservient to the people I'm interviewing. And in a similar way, Danny Wagner is the main character throughout the now 34 plays, but nonetheless, all the other characters tend to be the focus. I mean, Danny is sometimes the co-lead, like in A Woman of No Consequence, and you could argue in Janelle's Red Yaya, he's the co-lead, but he's never. I don't think there's any particular play where he is the lead, and that's because since Danny Wagner is my stand-in, Danny is observing these other people, and it's about these other people, and the Duke Mitchell character is based upon, and I won't use the real name, but if you look on my Biorama, Duke Mitchell, there's a fellow with a similar name to Duke Mitchell, and that's who it's obviously based upon.
I thought of some of the more important characters to the Duke Mitchell is his wife. Is her name pronounced Vega or Vega?
Vega.
Vega.
Like Las Vegas, so Vega.
And then Sharona is his daughter.
Yeah.
She has a great scene later on and is well realized in that later scene. But the whole of the play, I didn't think that Danny was the main crux of the focus. His Biorama series does hold some interest, though, and we'll get to that in a moment. But it's mostly with his wife, Vega, and it's sort of like a what do you call it? Scenes from marriage for the working class in some ways. Their relationship is more real and less artificially based than the characters of Johan or Marianne in Scenes from Marriage. And they also are in the type of relationship where Duke is deluding himself and the Vega character is more in the know as to what's wrong with their marriage, although both of them have their own problems. Vega has sort of treated the relationship as a business relationship, whereas Duke has treated it with no respect and is constantly deluding himself and lying to others around him.
Well, there are always links between the plays. Probably the play that this has the most truck with is Big Al's Gina. I mean, both Big Al is someone who is probably a decent guy. And
yes, I mentioned, I actually have that noted here as callbacks to Big Al's Gina. But I think that this is, I don't know if it's as emotionally as devastating a play.
No, it's
because
not.
Because of the character of Gina being, her death leaves much more emotional weight, but it does have that sort of same axis. And I do think that the one element that it has ahead of Big Al's Gina is the character of Vega, which is, you don't really get to know that much about Al's wife in Big Al's Gina, whereas you do in this play. So it's reverse in many ways, where you learn about Gina, you learn about Al's surrounds, but you learn about Vega and Duke in this one.
Yeah, well, and that's why it's called Big Al's Gina, because the play, I think it was someone else on the E-list who read it, might have been Laura Woods or someone told me that the title was good. Oh, no, it was William Glass, I think, who read it.
Thomas Evans.
It was Tom?
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. Well, so Tom, yeah, because Tom had said that's why it's called, because the play is about Gina, but through Big Al, filtered through Big Al. And in this play, Duke Duke's main personal, I guess, trait is that he's constantly trying to change who he is. I mean, he's a black guy who pretends he's not black, um, and and that's one of the things that's the most, kind of odd and bizarre about him and the whole play. Um, and he's got this wife, and he's got a girlfriend on the side, and we have he's got he doesn't take his job too seriously. He's basically hanging out with the guy at work, and they have some conversations that are both inane but revealing, because in the inanity of the two characters, with the sidekick character, the underling, being pretty much a dope, it reveals a bit more about who Duke really is, because Duke is he's not really a con man. He's just he's too nice of a guy to be a con man. He's more or less just someone who's uh, too high on himself, and this causes him all sorts of problems. And by the play's end, he sort of unravels, and the play sort of ends with him being confronted by, to use the trite term, his own demons, his own inner demons, and whatnot.
What do you think of his relationship with Vega? What do you think of the character of Vega? Because you said something interesting that I don't know if I necessarily got in the reading, which was that he's too nice of a guy, when he seems sort of the antithesis of that to me in many of his interactions with other characters. But what do you
Well,
think of Vega? She sometimes is very shrill.
yeah.
However, it's sort of necessitates based on the basis of their marriage and how it's gone awry.
Well, and they shouldn't be together. And I don't, since I don't have my other computer and whatnot. As I said, I forget what's the name of his girlfriend. What do I call her?
His girlfriend, let me look at here as you speak.
Yeah. So so I mean, he's a nice guy in the sense that he's not abusive. He's not necessarily a drunk. He just sort of is one of these people who is so high on himself. He's probably a, a minor narcissist. I think Jessica would call it. There's a term for narcissists who don't realize they're narcissists. I think it's like called a lesser narcissist or something. Um, and so he's probably something like that.
Vega is the live-in girlfriend, and
Yeah.
Ruda is the wife.
Right. That's right.
Is the
Yeah. It
Russian
wasn't
one.
Vega. Yeah. It's Ruda is the wife. That's right. And so yeah, Ruda is sort of the. And if you go back to Big Al's Gina, Big Al's wife is sort of a ball buster too, and Ruda is probably a ball buster, and the daughter Sharona has minor scenes. Um, but I think the whole Duke character, which, and this is a play I wrote about 3 or 4 months ago now. The Duke character is a character that uh, he's sort of this. He's sort of a lightweight character. He doesn't have any real particular depth, but he thinks he does. He thinks he's smart. He thinks he's deep. And yet we're constantly seeing these little scenes and these revelations of the lack of his depth. So
One of them is in the Biorama interview. He says that he has the soul of the poet,
yeah,
and Dan calls him out on that. Danny, rather,
yeah,
saying that, and the example he gives is an illuminating one in that Danny Wagner has lived his whole life, and no matter what he's been doing, he's always been writing, and whether it's poetry or what have you. Whereas Duke has never done anything of that sort. He doesn't have a poetic soul in any sense. Yet he's uttered a deadly cliche,
yeah.
and it doesn't even apply to him.
Yeah, and that's part of his cluelessness. And he's one of these people that you know you go into any walk of life, and you can be in business, and you can see someone who thinks that they're a budding Donald Trump, or they're a budding Bill Gates or Steve Jobs, or any of these people who for however they've done it, made lots of money, but really they're just a middle manager. Or you see people who, for example, are average looking, but think that oh, they're gorgeous. I've known numbers of women like this. You see people who think they're smart. You can go on Twitter or anywhere online, and you get people, some of them who are a bit smart, but not nearly as smart as they think they are. But if you were to remove their computers from them and they couldn't Google, well, you'd see how little they do know. And Duke is one of these kinds of people that probably uh, is one of these people who goes online. He probably argues on web boards and blogs and whatnot, and but without his trusty keyboard at night, and he's probably doing this while he's being paid on the job. Without that, nothing's going to really. He's never going to make any kind of impact, and that's basically who he is, for better or worse.